Hello, everybody, and welcome to Neurotic News. It's good to be back. I'm sorry it's been a long time between recordings, but we have to go out there and earn a living, unfortunately. And some chaotic things have happened in our careers since our management spectacularly and publicly went bankrupt, which is crazy. So, yeah, it's been a crazy time.
I feel like if they liquidate your assets, they should put them in the NutriBullet and make you drink them.
Like the computer and the laptop and the fucking books and...
Like if you're going to liquidate them, just get a huge NutriBullet, put the filing cabinets in. Yeah. And then just drink all the office supplies in a kind of smoothie.
And this is punishment for the guy who went bankrupt? Is that how you see it, or...?
Just more of a terminology thing.
Right, so there's no meaning behind it per se.
Yeah.
It's just that it's liquidate, so therefore you should liquid.
Yeah, it's the type of term where you're like, what? Where does the liquid go?
I do like the sound of liquidate, though. Yeah. It's got a nice flow to it.
Yeah,
I think.
Absolutely.
Bad start.
But to drink like kind of paper clips that have been mashed up by a blender.
Yeah, well, some people do that. I mean, like, you ever see those shows about people that have freakish, I don't know what you fucking call it, whether you call it a habit, but you know, the guys who eat glass and swallow nails. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
You know, or the woman who married a Ferris wheel and shit.
Yeah, they'll get like a piece of the Berlin Wall and...
Fuck it.
Yeah, put a glory hole in the ceramics.
Someone would have put a glory hole in the fucking...
Berlin Wall.
That would have been the best glory hole you could have.
Well, you get a communist to suck you off. Do you know what I mean? There's an extra level.
Yeah.
Of anonymity.
Well, that's what I'm trying to say is like, what's the best glory hole wall in the world? And it would have to have been the Berlin Wall, historically significant, separating two battling ideologies at the time of the peak of nuclear war threatening, and you're putting your dick through a hole into the other side.
Yeah.
So I reckon that would have been one of the best walls. Wall of China?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, like, the wall that separates...
Put a firewall, put a glory hole in a firewall.
Well, I think there's probably already a few.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think it'd be weird if Reagan was like, Mr. Gorbachev.
Put your dick through that wall.
Drill a hole in that wall and put your dick through it so I can suck it. Everyone will be like, is he okay? Is the dementia... I know he had early signs of Alzheimer's.
Oh, shit.
It's
Mr. Gorbachev, put your dick through that wall.
So I can suck it.
Because to me, like, you know, when you look at the senility of those leaders, like Biden wasn't far off saying shit like that.
Oh, yeah.
He was like, you know, he was saying weird shit.
Yeah.
Like he was saying crazy shit.
You could have said that.
Like he was saying shit like, we need to stop the Ukraine. Anyway, here's the president of the Ukraine.
Yeah.
And then he'd go back, oh, sorry, I meant Putin. That's not too far off, Mr. Gorbachev. Put your dick in that wall. So
he says it really righteously too. And
put
then no one
your
claps.
dick in that wall.
It kind of reminds me of, I read an article saying Grindr employees now have to go back to the office because they're working from home.
Mm-hmm. That is a strange, it's almost built in funny.
Yeah, that's the problem with it almost.
Yeah, it's done.
But they're the type of articles you read now because of the world we live in.
Yeah, it's like I saw a headline, they found Hitler's teeth. And I was like, okay. And we've talked about it before on the podcast, but yeah, I always thought that was, just the joke is in the headline. Like that time we saw Muhammad Arab punches paramedic.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one.
That's a great title. I remember the
That
Gold
was in
Coast,
the newspaper, by the way, just for people listening. That's not a made up.
That was in the Gold Coast
That was
Bulletin.
in the Gold Coast Bulletin.
I remember the Gold Coast Bulletin, which I don't know if the Gold Coast needs a newspaper. Because the front page was George Lucas eats burrito in Broadbeach food court. And it was just him looking confused at sombreros. There was no angle on it. It was just like, but it was on the front page. Usually you need an angle on a front page.
Well, the Gold Coast is like if a pair of tits fucked a tattoo and gave birth to a, like a dude who goes to the gym. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's a
steroid.
Yeah. It's like a tit fucks a bicep, gives birth to a tattoo that's on steroids.
Yeah.
Not that I do have a go at the Gold Coast. I love it. I love everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, like, it's not known for its deep cultural, like reading, like that's the thing about the Gold Coast Bulletin. It's just all pictures of people eating and drinking. Yeah,
someone would have seen that and gone, George Lucas is at Sombreros. We should go to that one.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Whereas, The Economist or something like that would be analysing his oeuvre.
Yeah.
His body of work and like what's it mean and what's he doing in Australia. Whereas the Gold Coast Bulletin's like, he's eating that. He's eating a fucking burrito.
Yeah. He's got a black rice burrito. Maybe he's worried about his health.
High in antioxidants.
The Economist would try to read into like what it means for the box office. Like, has he lost
credibility and so on as a director? And
like, should he be in a food court publicly?
Gold Coast is like, what do you eat? I think that's what he said. What do you eat?
What's he in the bowl?
Question mark. What's in the bowl? Anyway, welcome to the podcast. And I will say that I know a lot of people message me saying we wish it was more regular. If you want to contribute to the podcast, the studio and the production of it, there is a Patreon. By all means, send us a donation and we use that to produce the podcast as now independent comedians. Dan is touring next year, so he'll be doing his latest hour of stand-up around all the festivals, including the Melbourne Comedy Festival. And when this comes out, my latest special will be out. So I toured for nearly 2 years, and this is like my best new stuff. It's I'm pretty happy with it. It's a good special. I filmed it in Sydney, and so you can also contribute to that as well, as I'm going to put it out for free, as is the world today. So they're the only things we really got to plug, and they'll probably come up a couple of times as we record over the next few weeks. But there'll be more neurotic news coming out over the next few weeks as Dan and I are now back into it again. So thanks for listening and all that. But now, this ep, we're sort of thinking it's themed around friction in society, which came from the idea, that's the thematic idea of the episode, the frictionless society. It's something they say, isn't it?
Yeah, there's no friction across every level now. Like you get Amazon to deliver like your clothes to your house.
Yeah, you work from home. You communicate via your phone. You pay with contactless payment.
You don't talk to the barista, you use a QR code now. You can order a latte through a QR code.
Exactly, yeah.
And like now there's a Zempic, so you don't even have the friction of having to use willpower to say no to a Krispy Kreme.
Right, yeah.
That used to be a friction. You'd go past a Cinnabon and have a rap battle, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or you'd like the waft of a McDonald's would start like, I should fucking get the Grimace Shake, fuck. And now that can be taken away.
Yeah. So this is the idea of a frictionless society where there's no, everything just flows. The best example of it I can think of is Amazon's owns the Whole Foods, which you heard about this, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no
payment.
No payment. You walk into the store, you grab things and walk out, and it, through facial recognition, already knows who you are, already detracts the amount, and already can see what you've bought.
They just go in and take stuff and walk out.
That's frictionless.
I do that at Woolworths, but there can be friction.
Yeah. Didn't you get accosted by a dwarf?
Yeah.
Working there?
Yeah.
Or he wasn't walking?
He could have been an extra in Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
You know, to save on prosthetics.
Yeah.
They would cast him. They'd be like, we don't need to do any makeup, just throw him in. But yeah, there's friction because you can be like, what? Like, you didn't pay for this. If you just go in and take
Stop right
stuff.
there, sir. That's an example of friction.
It's like doing a runner from an Uber. It's like you don't need to run.
Yeah. We've already got your money.
Yeah.
As Charlie Sheen would say.
And also it's like, I feel like the one source of friction or the only thing that was keeping everyone humble was the petrol station.
Yes. This is what spurned the whole idea for this episode. And I think it's a great point. With electric cars, that's another step in the frictionless society where you used to have an awkward conversation with an ex-meth head that, was working the browser and fucking, working behind there'd be a strange person working behind the counter.
There'd be a diesel
servo.
truck at pump 4, a dude with a rat's tail and an emotional support Rottweiler coming out.
Mm.
And there was a threatening atmosphere to it.
Yeah, there's a guy who used to be a meth addict behind the counter. What pump, mate? And you go, I think it was 4. And he's like, unleaded Corolla. And he would say it like, unleaded Corolla?
Yeah.
You drive a Corolla, do you, mate?
It's a Prius.
Hybrid?
Yeah.
You fucking cunt. Like, there's a bit of...
Yeah.
And now with electric cars, you just charge it at home. That's another piece of friction gone.
Well, yeah, you're charging the battery at home and then, you go to a cafe, don't talk to anyone and then silently glide out onto the street.
Because you paid with a QR code into your electric vehicle home where you work from home and you get all your food and groceries delivered. It's frictionless. And then you meet people online through dating apps where you don't have to go out. And then you just live this whole... Because now people are dating fucking silicon 3D. I get ads for it.
Yeah.
That's how lonely I am.
Yeah, it's
the algorithm's gone like, send this guy like 3D women to talk to.
Like a hologram.
And I'm like, oh, it's tempting. Because they look pretty good.
Yeah.
When someone in Silicon Valley generates a 3D image of the ideal partner.
Takes the pain out of the awkward silence. It's just built in fine.
Yeah. Like you're not having arguments and shit. So that's the idea of the frictionless thing. And the electric vehicle is taking away the pump now. It's taking away the pump. And the pump is, like you said, that was a little bit of a dose.
Yeah, you saw the money going up on the thing. You were putting it in.
Some guys like, why
off.
did you park at the pump closest to you instead of moving forward so I could use it? A disgruntled guy in a ute might spit at you or...
Call you a soft cock for having a car with half an engine.
Yeah, what's it, a Prius, is it, mate? No, yeah. I've had that.
Yeah, totally. And it's weird that the Tesla, which is fully electric, you'd think they'd get bullied the most.
Right.
But they've actually escaped because the battery's just charging silently at home. And then I feel like soon there'll be so little friction that, they should have like a drive-through at the petrol station where Tesla drivers come in and get abused. Just to get that dose. That kind of keeps you humble.
Yes.
Like they just go on in there. There's like a dude that looks like an extra from Mad Max just strapped to the fender of a monster truck like a gargoyle. Just yelling abuse.
Yeah.
Kind of like.
Yeah. Or you go through the drive and someone just pops their head out the window and goes, fuck you looking at?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, nothing. Sorry, I was, oh my God. And you put your head down and drive off and you're like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
Had my little bit of friction that I now miss out on. Yeah, because, like I've had that because when I drive between the Gold Coast and Brisbane, between the Gold Coast and Brisbane's a type of place you might, like I've seen like bikies with full face masks so you can't see their face because they're criminals.
Yeah.
Like right up behind you and stuff. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Like between the Gold Coast and Brisbane is some of the most dangerous meth dealers in Australia.
Yeah.
And then I stop at the Coomera Servo often because it's fucking where I run out of fuel.
Yeah.
And you stop and it's not unusual to see, a bikie with a man on a chain or whatever, just, at the pump.
That's the type of place where you're filling up your Prius and you're like, I could get kidnapped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be made into a gimp for a bikie gang. Because I had to fill it up.
Yeah.
Like I had to get out of the car and be vulnerable while that guy got out. The diesel pump.
The electric part of my car only keeps me out of that situation so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Before I've got to resort to going into the underworld of the BP in Coomera.
It's crazy those BPs where they're so big that they have a microwave in them.
Yeah.
Like a communal, so you can go in and microwave your sausage roll.
Yeah.
And share a microwave with a serial killer. Like the same microwave that's microwaved his 4 and 20 pie.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just done a meth deal down the street and stabbed a guy in the heart, and now he's like, beef and kidney.
Yeah. Just stabbed a guy in the kidney.
Yeah. Are you done there, mate? Or those kinds of interactions,
So Tesla drivers, they're just driving around without any of the pain receptors that you traditionally would have to have. And I feel like you could get flabby.
You think you need a bit of that in life.
Yeah.
Yeah, hence the drive-through idea. You could pay a subscription where you get abused or have an awkward interaction.
Yeah.
Because people aren't really interacting anymore because they don't need to, which is the point of the frictionless thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things, post-COVID, like things that were good in that regard are gone because of COVID. Like you used to be able to get a newspaper at the airport or at the airport lounge, and they took that away because of COVID, and they never bring it back because it's like, oh yeah, we don't have to pay that anymore.
But all the bad stuff stayed around.
Yeah.
Like getting your address and email every time you use a QR code.
Exactly. Yeah, like every time you do anything now, same with looking for a house, where everything you do, they take all your details, and that was a COVID thing. But of course now they just go into it's mandatory, and they just never removed it.
Yeah. And then your dad forgets your birthday, but Foot Locker remembers.
Yeah, that happened to me like about a week ago.
Yeah, you get an email?
Yeah, no one remembered. Like my dad forgot my birthday, but Rebel Sport was like, happy birthday, Damien. And I went into my banking app, and I'm not joking, balloons came up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it celebrated my birthday, my banking app. So my banking app did more for me than my friends and family.
It is weird when the balloons come up on the email or whatever, like the little GIF they create, like a little dancing thing, and it's your birthday, and like a little part of you does feel seen.
Yeah, that's right.
Thanks, Foot Locker.
Thanks. You hooked me up.
Like you just imagine the CEO's up there writing the email because he cared.
Yeah, that's right. He's like, I'll animate this GIF for the balloons myself, not the slave in India and so on.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like you give all your information away to real estate agents and cafes and everything you sign in because of COVID. And then two hours later you get an email, listen, brother, I've got a deal. Because the email just gets leaked in these giant databases. So you get these fucking crazy emails like XXX porn, fuck.
Yeah.
Or whatever in your inbox because you went and bought a cafe latte and used your QR code to pay for it.
Because you didn't want to talk to the barista because you were mildly hungover. Because of the Valium you had to take to sleep because you're alone. So you don't want to interact because you know when you're on Valium the next day you feel like you're in a virtual reality meat suit.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of clunky, like you're trying to pick stuff up, but it feels like you're in that thing in Avatar where, where they're in that mechatronic thing where they control.
Yeah, yeah. That's a great description of a hangover.
Yeah.
What you've said there. Or drugs sometimes, like you're an alien controlling a human body.
Yeah. Well, with the cost of living crisis, I can't afford to go on holiday. I'm just going to do ketamine and watch a YouTube video of a sunset.
Yeah. That's a good idea, man.
Yeah.
Because it is expensive.
Yeah.
That's the funny thing about the world now. Like, we were talking about, like how you can be in a cafe now and because people just work there.
Yeah.
Or they work from home now.
They bring the office to you now.
Right. Exactly. And you'll be sitting there and you overhear someone say, hear words like synergy.
Yeah.
And department and rebates. Yeah.
I feel like if you overhear
collaboration.
the word CC in the invoice, circle back, reach out, words you've never used to anyone because you've never had a job. Now it's like you're secondhand smoking their toxic job.
Right.
But they're getting the profit and you're getting the exhaust fumes.
The whole reason I'm broke and I live with my family, live with my dad, is because I chose a life of being a comedian. So I wanted to escape that when my old job was IT support.
You didn't want to hear the word synergy.
Right. I left all that behind to be on the cusp. But now I've got to sit in a cafe on Xanax trying to relax on my own, of course.
Yeah.
And hear the word synergy for that collaboration. I'll circle back and we can deal with the profit margins after that.
Yeah.
I've got to hear that fucking sentence.
Well, it's like, I feel like if you hear the word synergy in the wild, you should be compensated.
Yeah.
There should be a class action lawsuit of people who don't have jobs against people who do work in cafes.
Do you reckon that'll happen?
Yeah.
Because you talk about like what's the chip Elon Musk is working on?
Neuralink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That it'll just be like software running in your brain. It'll be like that was technically, when you said that you were contributing to their work, you get 0.005% of that project.
You having when you see them like elevate their laptop, have you seen that where they put the laptop on stilts in the cafe? Mm-hmm. So the laptop's like above them.
Yeah.
So if they have like a Zoom conference with their boss, they can imagine washing his feet.
Right.
Because it's like
Easier.
above them literally.
Right. So he's looking up like
Yeah.
he would if he was cowering underneath the CEO,
Well,
washing his feet.
They secretly love the job too. There's a weird ecstasy of bureaucracy in it.
Yeah.
Like it's like, I'll circle back. Thanks, Tina. You know, there's an enjoyment. And what's happening is they're profiting off that job. It's like their car is like, it's almost like it's getting faster and faster, but you've got the exhaust fume and you're just sucking on the fumes.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah. Secondhand work.
Yeah.
Smoke, but secondhand work.
And work will kill you, and secondhand work will kill you.
I agree. I don't want to be around it.
But if you are going to secondhand work, you should get money siphoned off that deal that they're doing.
Yeah, I agree. I liked your idea, though. You were talking about how you read, and this is now, I mean, parallel to this conversation, but not continuing it. But you were saying, like, in some of these migrants, well, I mean, I guess the point I'm trying to make is that it sounded like, where's this fucking going?
Yeah.
Some of these migrants. No, but a lot of people are looking for friction now.
Yeah.
So that takes the form of, for men, like it takes the form of men groups, that kind of thing. People now aren't using dating apps because the frictionlessness means often you don't even fucking meet anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like you chat, you match, there's an exchange, but nothing actually happens.
All of these apps and technological things have destigmatized doing a no-show.
Right.
Because there's so much choice. It's like, yeah, I can fuck that person over.
Yeah.
There's like this volume of
Right. So
other
people are doing
experiences.
things like joining running groups now.
Yeah.
And then there's the men's groups and the CEO hikes. That's the place I'm going now. So yeah, like Tough Guys Book Club.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah, they read like, you know, Sally Rooney book.
Because I saw a reel on Instagram come up of one of these groups and they're all crying and moaning and screaming, which they should do as men because we're crazy and repressed.
Yeah.
Like women will openly, I used to have a bit about how women will openly tell you on the first date their trauma and issues.
Yeah.
They'll openly go like, sometimes I'm like this and if you can't deal with it, that's, you know, but that's just how I am. I'm like this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm crazy like that. Whereas men just go, hello. And then 30 years later, they drive a car into the lounge room.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, wish you'd told me that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean
You
earlier?
see them, they're driving a car on the footpath and they're not a park ranger.
Yeah.
You know when park rangers will drive on the footpath because they're trying to check on the health of a botanical plant.
Right.
So they've got to go into the park.
Whereas this guy's got a mental health issue, so he's trying to run people over.
That's right-wing terrorism.
Tough Guys Book Club is where men, well, first of all, when I saw that reel, like it was like something like men being together or something like that, men being vulnerable or something. It was like a sincere, earnest video.
It's
of
like
men.
a loneliness epidemic.
Right. And they're there screaming and crying and holding each other. And you know what the first comment was? Gay.
Yeah.
That was the first comment on the video. And it had a big animation, like gay. Had like rainbow flag sparkling and shit.
Well, it's a weird thing because it feels like when you're growing up, like that's what happens when you're vulnerable. Someone just yells gay out of a ute.
Right.
Either metaphysically or literally. So then you're not vulnerable, but now the culture kind of rewards vulnerability. But by that time, you're so repressed by the historical attacks from people that you're like, I'm not going to be vulnerable even though it's trendy because I just got so pummeled for trying to do it earlier.
It's a funny state for men, I think, in that it is encouraged to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
And it is encouraged to talk about your mental health. You know, you see footballers get on there, get out there and fucking talk about your mental health, cunt.
Well, mental health's trickled down to blokes now.
Yeah.
So on Triple M, they'll be like, it's difficult out there, isn't it, Macca? And then they'll play Cold Chisel, which is the song you adapt to at high school.
Yeah, the song that was playing in the background when Trevor bashed you with his mates.
Yeah.
The song.
Can't get started. America, oh yeah. Like it's like Pearl Jam, like I'm still alive. And you just remember your head getting smashed against a locker.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, the hosts are worried now about mental health.
Yeah, and
And I can only connect with blokes who've had mental health.
right.
Like, I can't connect with a bloke that's just full like, yes, no, it's been fucking, I've had a great time. Yeah, I can talk to a bloke who's just come out of a mental hospital.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got nothing to say to people that aren't damaged.
Yeah.
I can't relate.
That's why the sauna's good, because sometimes the sauna is a bloke that was a full bloke, like just a full like
But now he's
cokehead,
broken.
roided up nutcase has been humbled by something and now they're into wellness.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So like, yeah, no, you're right. That's a good point. It's like I'll connect with that bloke that's been through some kind of historical trauma.
Exactly, yeah. And that's what I'm saying is it's a funny place for men right now.
Yeah.
In the sense that I feel like it's available and it's talked about, but like I'm still not game to do it
Yeah.
around my old high school mates or, you know what I mean? Like it's progress, but it's not like.
Yeah, I tried crying into a friend's shoulder and screaming into a void, but I was just bashed. So now it's hard to do it when it's good,
It's
when it's trending.
like I said, it's there. People are talking about it, but you know,
That's
you have a cry on the guy I used to, you know, work with at Bob Power Canvas or whatever, where we, you know, used to take the ute out and do install tents and whatnot. I'm not going to go back there when I went back to Toowoomba recently and go to him, mate. I've been feeling a bit sad lately. I feel alone
Yeah.
because it might be my last words.
Yeah, totally. And the school bully that was doing burnouts in front of your house to intimidate you. The irony is now he's probably a mental health advocate
Yeah,
and he's reaping the rewards of it being socially fashionable.
even though he was the bully.
Who screwed you up so much you're like, I'm not being vulnerable anymore.
No.
But he's cashing in just at
Yeah.
the right time, like a pump and dump scheme on a cryptocurrency.
Right. So he's bullied you and then realized that was wrong and now he's vulnerable. Whereas you're just dealing with the mental health from being bullied by him.
Yeah, and you've become repressed, so you can't cry anymore. Like you can't produce saline out of your eyes. Like you've been to a doctor and like ask why you can't produce tears. And they're
The
like,
Prince Andrew defense.
Yeah.
Like the sweating
Yeah.
or whatever.
yeah, I can't produce tears out of my eyes because I've got my cortisol levels are so like my cortisol levels are like a pipe that's burst, and it's just filling up like in that scene from the Titanic, you know, when
Right.
the waters and they're kind of their
They're
mouths.
trying to get the mouth above the last remaining air gap.
That's like my brain
Right.
with like adrenal fatigue.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. It's I call it underlying humming cortisol.
Yeah.
And then you step outside of the doctor's office and there's old mate from school and he's got a pamphlet and he's like, you know, you should talk to someone, open up.
Have an ice bath with Trevor.
Yeah. Because of when I bashed you when you were younger.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
seem
yeah.
nervous now.
Yeah.
Open up, you fuckhead. Still, there's a little bit of a tinge.
Open up more.
Open up more, you fuckhead.
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got lots to get through in the coming couple of eps, but for now, I feel like it's, you know, been good. Yeah, maybe we should wrap it up.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening again, and thanks for coming back. And yeah, we will be back soon. Thanks,
Yeah.
Rathy.
Thank you.